So it is the 27th of March 2023. We're looking at the Montreal Skyline viewed from Ile Saint-Hélène, Parc Jean Drapeau, just on the other side of the Alexander Calder Man 3 Discs sculpture. And we have a few people looking here. You got 4 on the left and 2 on the right. Maybe the... No, I thought you might be taking some photos, but definitely not. So, anywho, some of them are... Oh, I get to practice my German, I think. Guten Abend. Yeah, got to practice my German. So, anyhow. Just change the camera angle a little bit to show the chairs more. I think I might increase the exposure a bit because it is a little on the dark side on the screen. It might be even darker in terms of the actual video, so I'm going to boost the ISO. We're currently at a 30th of a second, f7.1. Maybe I'll just open up a bit. I'm going to open the lens up to 6.3. There we go. So I just opened up a third of a stop while still keeping a middle moderate aperture. I'm at 3200 ISO. Do I want to increase the ISO? I don't know. I think we're more or less okay in terms of exposure. At least in terms of what I'm seeing on the screen. This is, again, one of the issues I have is that what I see on the screen doesn't always match up in terms of what is on the video. A number of times the video's significantly darker than what I'm seeing on the screen in these kind of situations. It's okay in like normal situations, daylight and everything, pretty well okay. But in dark situations, it does appear to be darker. So I think I will err on the side of caution and increase the ISO. Okay, so there we go. This is brighter by a little bit than what I'm actually seeing, particularly in terms of the clouds. We're getting some noise. I'm seeing noise on the screen. We're at a relatively high ISO. So 4000 ISO, f6.3, aperture, third of a second shutter speed. The scenery, the chairs, in terms of what I'm seeing a little bit more blue. The chairs are darker in the image, than I'm seeing. But I don't want to boost the exposure too much. The sky, as I said, it's a bit lighter than what I'm seeing. So I don't want to mess around too much. The skyline, pretty good all around. And I did hear the horn of a boat earlier. I thought we might have a boat pass through the scene, but I don't see any sign of a boat. At present, we got one guy taking photos there. Nice view of Alexander Calder's Man 3 Discs behind you. We're not going to swivel the camera around. Off to my right, I see the older CBC Radio Canada tower, and I'm noticing that the CBC logo is no longer lit up. It used to be for quite some time, after they moved to their new offices and then basically didn't own the old tower anymore. The logo was still lit up, but it apparently is no longer lit up. And that's a fairly recent development. And I can see the Old Port Tower off to the right, out of the frame. What else can I see? Well, you can see what I can see in the video, obviously. I was hoping for a boat to go through based on what I heard, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. And I was also hoping for skies to clear somewhat once this big bank of clouds passed over, because the horizon did look quite clear, but for whatever reason, I don't know exactly what, it seems to be quite cloudy again on the horizon. So I don't know how much time I'm going to spend here, waiting for skies to clear. I think I might just head home, because I've already been here for a little while. Let's just check the situation time. It was 7:48. The ideal time, as far as I was concerned, for taking photos of the moon and Venus and Mars relatively close together was around 8 o'clock in terms of balance between shadow and light, so on and so forth, highlights and shadow. And so with all these clouds, that's not happening. Okay, I'm now seeing two areas of the sky, the cloud lit up. On the right, we see the cloud lit up by the green lights on top of Complex Desjardins. And on the left, I see the cloud lit up by lights from, I believe, Place Victoria. But we're just going to turn the camera angle up to see those lights on the clouds. Actually, it might be, yeah, they don't appear to be showing up. I don't want to raise the camera much more than this. They're pretty faint. They're sort of a faint green blob glow above the Complex Desjardins, which we can see just to the right of the Grand Rue, the Ferris wheel there. Yeah, I'm not going to bother. So, just slowly pan down here. And yeah, I think I'm just going to call it a night, because it is not looking promising for being able to see the moon with Mars and Venus in the sky tonight. It's pretty well clouded over completely. So anyway, looks like a washout. And these things do happen. But at least I got to hopefully calibrate my video. We'll check the footage and compare how it looks compared to my description in the video. See how close it matches. I have a funny feeling it'll be a bit darker than what I'm describing, because it has been in the past, and I haven't adjusted yet since then, but I will probably be adjusting the brightness levels of the screen to rectify that situation. See an aircraft to the right. I might just wait and let that pass through. Oh, I do see the cross on the mountain now. The cross is there just to the right of the, well, there's actually two aerials. There's sort of a bright aerial just to the right of Complex Desjardins, but then further right there's a red light, and to the right of that we have the cross on Mount Royal. Where did that aircraft go? I don't know. I don't see a boat. Thought it might be nice if we captured a boat coming through the scene, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Sometimes a parked boat will just blast its horn even though it's not going anywhere. That's possibly what happened. Which reminds me, in the past anyway, there's been a concert in the spring where the boats that wintered in the harbor in the old port area, that they basically do a concert with their horns. And I'm not sure if they're doing that this year, but if they are, it's probably not far down the road. I should look into that because that's a kind of an interesting event. But on the other hand, I didn't see a whole lot of boats in the old port area this year, so maybe they won't do it because there just aren't enough boats. Yeah. So anyhow, yeah, I think we're pretty well done here for tonight. We're not going to get the photos I was hoping to get, although I do see a little hole in the cloud now above me, which I might, if it passes in the right area of the sky, I might briefly see the moon and maybe even Mars. But I see an aircraft on my left with its lights on, and it's sort of lighting up the clouds. It's sort of got like this searchlight look in front of the plane because of the landing lights or whatever lighting up the cloud. But yeah, it's all looking good in terms of seeing the moon. So I think we didn't totally waste our time, but we didn't get what we wanted. But this is what happens when you're doing this type of photography. I think I'll zoom in on the city a bit. We're at 28 millimeters right now. We're going to zoom in to 70. Looks like we might have to adjust our focus a bit. And we're going to have to adjust our exposure. So we're up at 6400, which is the highest marked numbered ISO for this camera. We're just going to shift things slightly in terms of getting the skyline all in. And the railing's a bit annoying, but the only way to deal with that is to go right up to the railing to get it out of the way. And I'm not going to do that tonight. We're pretty well done here, I think. But I figured I'd at least zoom in on the cityscape for a bit. And yeah, not terribly exciting, is it? It's a nice skyline. It's one of my favorite skylines, but nothing terribly interesting happening at the moment. I might take a photo. I might take a still photo of this. In fact, I'm just debating if I should just get that railing out of the way because it's rather annoying. So yeah, I think we're going to end this clip. I'm going to take a clip with the railing not visible, take a few still photos, and then I think we're done for tonight.